All right, welcome to episode 10 of the Small Talk podcast with Smallegan Real Estate. Today we're with Derek Mohr. Derek is a graphic designer by day and a web developer by night, right? And you just are
Vice
opposite?
versa, but yes.
Okay.
Totally.
So web developer during the day and graphic designer at night?
Hell yeah.
Kind of sounds like the same thing, but we'll get into that. And you just started a really exciting business venture called Grand Rapids Branding. How's that going?
It's a slow start because I didn't realize how much of an endeavor starting a business is.
Oh, boy.
And yeah, lots of kind of like, I hadn't taken that into account. I hadn't thought about that. And so it was a slower start, but now that it's like kind of rolling, it's finally starting to like feel like, okay, I'm getting the dials down. I'm starting to release new products, starting to understand like how to market, how to like when to post, do stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of a big learning adventure right now.
So what exactly is Grand Rapids Branding? Like, what are you doing?
It's kind of a series that was based on an old design series that I'd had. It just kind of, I've lived in Grand Rapids, I think the only time I wasn't in Grand Rapids was college. So, I've got so much like backstory and there's so many like little like intricacies that I've always kind of wanted to get into my design or like, like I just enjoy like branding Grand Rapids. Like I like the look of it. I like living here. And so I wanted to contribute to it in some way and realized there was an like opening to kind of like have this whole market. Like, why don't you just make a bunch of shirts, a bunch of t-shirts, a bunch of prints.
Okay.
It's everywhere right now. It's still that kind of like, learning, what am I going to really do? Do I like the prints more? Do I like the shirts more? Do I want to do like apparel, like stores? Do I want to do? It's all up in the air. But I just wanted something to contribute to the city of Grand Rapids in a way that was artistic.
That's awesome. Actually, I don't know if you've seen our fabric mural that we did, but we had a mural made of greetings from Grand Rapids and the Grand Rapids skyline at the bottom. We brought that to the Fall on Fulton event this like 2 weeks ago. It's really cool.
That does seem familiar, yeah.
So we're looking for more places to put it up, and it's not really about us. It's more about the city and just, representing Grand Rapids. It's such a cool skyline, and more people should see it, right?
Yeah, it was kind of that same motivation. Yeah, like it's a beautiful little place. Why not show it off a little?
Yeah. So how did you get into graphic designing?
That was my college major way back when. It's kind of just been that's something like you just have to do. Like it wasn't really a choice. I had taken a couple of classes while majoring in something else and was one of those like, this just makes so much sense in my head. Like it wasn't work. It was just fun. It was work, but it was fun at the same time. So it was kind of just something I've always wanted to do once I discovered like that it even like existed. I didn't know like what a graphic designer did in like maybe 2007, but by 2011 I was like, I can't imagine doing anything other than being a graphic designer.
That's awesome.
Obviously I've carried it through to other like, avenues, like web development and now like business ownership, but like still kind of always has that like design feel at the core of it.
Putting your own spin on it. It's really cool to take something from nothing and make it a reality, right? And share it with people and have other people appreciate it. I totally get all that.
It's one of those like I don't really know why I have that need, but it's just it's definitely a need. It's so much fun to like have other people see something and be like, oh, I love it, and kind of like it brings you that joy of like I did a good job. That feels good.
So did you go to college for this, or so where did you go to school?
I went up to northern Michigan, way up in Marquette.
Oh boy,
yeah. They got their first snowfall already this year.
Up there, yeah.
Actually, I think they made national news on that snowfall. But yeah, it's a beautiful place to be. It was really fun to kind of like go out on your own. I didn't know anyone else that was going to be up there, so I got to really kind of discover like what I wanted to do, who I was going to be, kind of thing while I was up there. It was. If anyone gets a chance to go to Northern, highly, highly recommend checking it out.
That's cool. Yeah, I actually went I have a house in Mackinac City. I was up there the beginning of October, and going through Gaylord, we actually got hit with snowflakes, which was like, what? Like, it's October.
Yeah, that's usually where it starts.
We're still not done with our pumpkin spice, right? So, what are some other companies you worked with in the past?
So a couple of other companies I worked for around here are there was a startup right out of college that doesn't exist anymore. That was a little YouTube adventure called Tool Select. It was kind of a home improvement show. I moved that into a corporate job over at UFP. Moved into a small business called SalesPad, which just rebranded, and the name is slipping me now. And then I slipped into the agency life after that. Kind of had like, I got my feet wet everywhere, but I really want to be in an agency.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably I think 5-6 jobs after college before I got to where I'm at now.
Okay. And so now with this company that you started, Grand Rapids Branding, are you like looking for other small businesses to do work for? Or like, is that like kind of the goal of the business?
It's kind of, I have a couple like could be goals. Part of me wants to turn it into something where I can work with other designers that are from the city and want to make like designs about the city. Part of me wants to see if it could be like an actual source of income. Part of me wants to see if it could be something that's like more for like more donation driven. Like somebody would come to it for kind of like we need something done for I don't know, like a humane society event. Like we've got a local designer that can make all these prints for us at a good price. And then like turn around and say like, okay, cool, 100% goes to humane society. It's got a couple open avenues since it's, still really getting its like legs growing. And so that's that's an exciting thing for me, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure where it will land. I'd love it to like, grand scheme dreaming, I'd love it to touch all these different facets of working with other designers and getting to be self-sufficient and getting to work with other businesses along with that. But who knows at this point?
Sure. Are your products like in stores now? Can you go to like a local gallery to see them?
It's all online right now. I am looking to get into more brick and mortar as time goes on. Like this November for Small Business Saturday, I'll be perched up at a local store out in the Creston area. And then from there, I might kind of like roll it into more markets and kind of see if people are interested in stocking or not. It's still one, like, I want to see what people think of it first. Okay. I still want to like, kind of like, you guys liking this? You guys not liking this? It's been really, I had like a poll to like pick the logo for it. I'm really making it as interactive as I can.
Yeah.
Of kind of like, this is kind of for all of us, like it's me, but it's for all of us,
Yeah. I think that's a really good way to go about it. I know we've used companies before to design t-shirts and swag and stuff like that. And the creative process is super important to have involvement from pretty much everybody that's going to be involved, and get their opinions on, how things should look and colors and stuff like that. So how do you kind of go through that creative process to figure out like what's important to somebody?
Right now I'm using Instagram for the most part to find that out. It seems to be a direct line of communication to people, that's that big goal that social media was supposed to be. And so that's my main method of kind of throwing out stories and being like, which one looks better? How are we feeling? Would people be interested in this? Are people liking prints? It's usually kind of just small little feeler questions that will like, at times turn into like full on polls of like, if you were like picking this business's logo, what would it look like? Which is actually how it got the logo that it got. Like it was like the overwhelming favorite. And so I was like, yes, people can work together and like pick some of these things. It's, I might, open it up to email at some point. I doubt I'd do snail mail, but you never know. It's
Keep
kind
your
of one of
options
those,
open, right?
Yeah, totally. Any way that people want to talk about it, I'll talk, the avenues are open right now.
So what's one of the most like interesting products or projects that you've worked on?
For Grand Rapids Branding or just kind of in general?
Just you.
For Grand Rapids Branding, my most interesting one would be this newest series I have coming out. They're all based on beer logos. Hams, PBR, Black Label, all the ones that you can kind of picture in your head. They've been the same since the 70s.
Yeah.
I've been modifying them to look more like, like some of the symbols are switched out for the Calder. They're a little more Beer City vibe. Just kind of like almost ones that kind of make you do that double take of like, that's actually pretty funny. Like instead of PBR, it's, drink Grand Rapids beer when you look closer. That one's fun just because you have to really break down what it would take to make something look kind of recognizable, but also not like a ripoff of it.
Yeah.
So that's been a fun one. Earlier this year, though, I got to design the logo for the side of a train, and that was very, very exciting because I still like just today I got a photo of like the newest one that's been painted. And it just looks so cool to think like, wow, that's right. I remember when we were coming up with that. Like that was just February, and now there's like, well, there's two so far, and more on the way. And so like that one's just been fascinating to see like this drone shots, of my big red train going through this like countryside out by Lansing. I'm still like kind of working with that company too. Like we're just like going branding crazy right now because we all liked where it landed, and we all are like, just very excited about it every time you look at it. And the train community in general is a very excited group. So like they're always pumped and always taking photos and posting them into this Facebook group. That one's just really, really fun.
Yeah. Just, I mean, to have your brand or logo on something that big and that moves around the country sounds really cool.
30 feet wide.
Yeah.
Like the big one. It was
Did
one
you
of those
paint
like,
it?
I mean, I didn't.
Okay.
I have no technical skill that way.
Okay.
They did vinyl it on there. I don't know. To be honest, I was getting a lot of photos of how the process went, and it looked like it was just layer after layer of like very, very like delicate, not delicate, but very intricate work. Like you gotta get that vinyl on there just right. It's spaced out for all these like service doors that have to get fixed and stuff like that. So it wasn't applied by me directly, but it was very well done by whoever did it.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's just cool to see it that big.
Yeah,
like,
we did our mural behind you with vinyl, and that's not even like 12 by 20, and there's all kinds of bubbles and imperfections, but it's a hard project to do, but it was a lot of fun, and it looks good still. So
yeah, so if it looks nice in the end, I mean, totally worth like the amount of struggle for it.
So, how are people finding you right now? Like Instagram or TikTok?
Right now, still kind of Instagram. Yeah, I'm hoping the markets will kind of get the word out there a little bit more. I personally have been working on a lot more of the infrastructure to it before I like blast it out on marketing, so I didn't get overwhelmed. So I'm only just starting to really start to push the name out there.
Okay.
But Instagram will be the probably main channel. I've got it integrated through Shopify, so I mean anything that is a social channel, hopefully it'll be coming through.
Sure.
Hopefully it'll be coming through email. I mean, I'd love to get it in any way of communicating, really.
Okay. Are you on TikTok at all?
I'm not young enough, no.
Okay.
I'd love to.
Oh, come on. TikTok's for all ages. I'm 42 and I'm on there.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. I guess I can't talk then.
The reason I brought it up, you mentioned earlier kind of remaking people's logos into something that's memorable but different. There's this Emily Zugway or something on there who takes big logos and actually remakes them almost. They're meant to be mocks or like goofing on the logo.
Little satires.
She took the Windows logo and made it look like a house and put her face against the glass. It was super funny, and Windows actually like picked that up, and she's the only person they're following on TikTok, and they sent her a Mac or not a MacBook.
That'd be something.
That'd be weird. They sent her a Windows Surface with her logo on it for doing that. So, but I think there is a need for that, right? Somebody to like redesign and do it is entertaining too, right? At the same time.
Yeah.
So
that was always my issue with TikTok, was one of those, like, I mean, most of what I'm doing is sitting, and, like it's mostly a mental thing. So I always had that, like, how do people visually, come up with a dance and all these finger points to show what they're doing through the day? Like, it seems like such a like skill that I'm very jealous of.
So I'm sure she's like really a good marketer, but the stuff she puts on TikTok is all just for fun. But I'd check it out.
Totally.
So what is like one project that, like, so you've done a train. What is one thing that you could say, like, I really want to do that? If it came up, I would jump at it.
Oh, I have been dying for a long time to get something that NASA has noticed. I would love to have something on the side of a satellite, something on the side of a rocket, something that like went off of the atmosphere or like out of the atmosphere. I've just been a very big space fan since, early childhood, whenever I first saw Star Wars. And I remember as I got older, I remember like somehow realizing, like, you know what? Yeah, things wouldn't deteriorate as long if something of mine got launched on a satellite, boy, it could be around for millions of years. Ooh, I like that. And so I like, yeah, ever since I had that thought, I want a satellite logo so bad.
Figure it out. Yeah. I guess you got to call Elon or something, get on those Starlinks.
I tried to get noticed by him a few times, and it turns out NASA is huge.
Yeah.
And, every designer loves NASA. So, of course, there's just high competition in it. But one day, I'm hoping one day, but, that's my dream one.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have a website, or like where can people find you online?
Totally. My website is the same as my handle, onemoreti.me. Thought it was clever with that .me extension. Turns out it just makes it very hard to say out loud.
Okay.
And then the store is grandrapidsbranding.co.
Okay.
And you can, there's links to all the socials on both of those websites, links to email, links to like any way to get in touch from both of those pretty easily.
Yeah. Did you build out your own websites like completely?
Yeah, that was part of like my shift into web development. Design is wonderful, but design needs like many outlets before it gets stale. And so I learned to code so I could kind of like make all of these things the way I wanted them to look, and they could also function the way I wanted them to function. So yeah, I'm very like hands-on. Like if it's a site of mine, I was aware of at least aware of every section of code, if not, actively like changing or creating it.
Yeah. So what type of code do you use?
I am a front ender, so I'm more of the your HTML, CSS, JavaScript, some PHP languages if they're templating. If anyone picked that up, congratulations. But for like the back end stuff, I'm trying to aim for a little more full stack, but the languages change so much that it's easier to just kind of say like front end.
Yeah.
That bucket changes, every 4 or 5 years or so. But JavaScript seems to have been one that's been around for a while. So,
did you learn more of that in school, or were you self-taught?
Those were all self-taught. I took one class at Northern, and actually, it was one of those like I will never do this again. It happened to be like a project coming along later where I was like, ooh, I needed that intrigue. I realized I might know just enough to mimic it, and that was kind of fun. And then that just kind of exploded into doing it full time and learning more and more and needing to learn more, and just it kind of cascaded after that.
Yeah, sometimes you have to find your what you're good at, and sometimes what you're good at finds you, right?
Yeah, entirely.
So, what's one of the like biggest or coolest websites that you've worked on?
We've done with the agency I work at. We've had a few. We did a really cool one real early in the pandemic. We worked with a startup that had learned how to convert CPAP machines into these kind of like low-end ventilators so that you wouldn't have to be hospitalized. It was like when that ventilator shortage was all going on. And this like company came through with this like prototype to essentially take the load off. Yeah. To make like kind of like, you can make this at home, or, an engineer can make this and sell it for very low or whatever. And so like having that happening, at this front wave, like early April of 2020, to be working on that one felt very cool, because it was one I was like, oh, this is like actively like contributing to like the help. That one it wasn't huge, but it was very, very exciting. There's a few huge ones, but nothing, those are usually like B2C type stuff. So nothing that people would really visit and check out or anything along those lines. Usually, they're usually like businessy related.
Sure.
This one for Grand Rapids is definitely the most intricate one that I've been working on. Shopify in itself is a behemoth. I've got all these ideas to make it grow, trying to leave all these avenues open of like, hey, contact me if you're a designer interested. Contact me if you want bulk orders, and I have to like account for all these. So it's definitely one of the more complex ones that I've worked on in a while.
Okay. How would somebody go about getting into like web design? Do they have to go to school, or can you do it without that?
I mean, school will help for sure. You really kind of like, you need to learn the essentials, and then you just need to be interested enough to follow through. Well, like for me, that required school, because without like structure, I wander off and kind of like don't get anything done all day ever.
Kind of the same.
Yeah. So like for the people that have that really good like discipline though, you can totally like bypass school and learn it yourself. I mean, I learned all the coding languages myself. I had that base to kind of get me like, here's kind of your orientation, but then like left off to kind of see like, you know, like go figure it out, see if you like it or not.
Yeah.
So you can entirely do it the traditional or the make your own way. It really depends on what you want to do. And how serious you are about it. You like ultimately you have to push yourself through. Like nothing.
How you learn best, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Neither like school won't give you the guarantee, and doing it yourself won't give you the guarantee. Like you wanting to do it all the time will give you the guarantee.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. I think, you know, there's lots of different ways to learn. I myself learn by doing, watch a lot of YouTube videos and figure out things that I probably shouldn't be doing on YouTube. And
Electrical boxes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Right now I'm actually doing a first Lego league with fourth graders. So I'm teaching them how to program using Python, Lego programming.
Really?
It's actually really cool. Like,
very interested in this.
I've always been into Legos, and this is kind of the next level. Like we're making robots that drive autonomously.
Wow.
I said that wrong, but
like you said fourth graders?
Fourth graders. Yeah. Fourth to sixth grade right now. And, you know, the code is actually really cool. It's a lot of drag and drop and words, and then it puts it into robot programming kind of in the back end, but it's really cool. And I'm into it, but I don't know that I could focus long enough to do that as like a full-time job, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm interested in that already. Like I definitely want to hear more about that one later.
Yeah. I'll send you a link.
Definitely.
Or look up First Lego League on YouTube. They have lots of cool videos and their robots and how they work. I actually thought about bringing it into work today, but I decided not to.
We would have been very distracted. I mean, you're talking, like you mentioned Lego. I mean, same. I was a Lego kid probably longer than I needed to be. I'm sure that when it like well through middle school and beyond, like I still every so often go through that aisle and kind of have that like, you know what? I mean, I could get this International Space Station Lego set. You know, I still have to like just avoid that aisle entirely, or else it's that like debacle of which one do I want to buy?
I'm still buying Legos.
Oh, I feel so much better then.
I have the Statue of Liberty adult Lego set in there, which you could check out in a little bit.
Definitely got to check that out.
That's always been a passion of mine. But so as a kid, you were into Legos. Where'd you grow up?
I did grow up in Grand Rapids, kind of in the southwest area, like 44th. What were my old intersections? I went to school at like 44th and Byron Center area. It was Trinity Christian. It's not there anymore. I think it moved. I don't know where they are now. But it was, you know, living in Granville. It was fine. I ended up really thriving much more downtown. Like once I moved there was when I was like, oh, this is what I was looking for. Yeah, like everyone's like, you know, friendly and like talkative and like always outside, and I love the vibe of the people downtown. So that was it was a much different. I had a much different view of it when I was growing up versus what I have now. Much more appreciative of it at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, definitely grew up Southwest side, playing my Legos, playing soccer.
Yep.
Staying on the computer too long, tying up the phone line.
Yeah, phone lines, right? Like, what are those?
Yeah.
So they're actually cords that attach to a phone that go to a thing on the wall. But
we could really get the sound effect of a dial-up connection. It'd be wonderful. That was really,
I'm sure we can do that.
Really soothing.
So you grew up in Grand Rapids, and have you always lived in Grand Rapids, or did you move away at some point?
I did move away for about 4 years there for college. I moved to Marquette. And I mean, I had a wonderful, wonderful time up there too, because it's just this scenic little town, like right on the lake. Everyone's like a college kid. Well, I shouldn't say everyone's a college kid. You're either a college kid or you're like 60.
Yep.
But it's such a fantastic place. I was really excited to be there. But I mean, like Grand Rapids kind of exploded when I left, you know, and so it was one of those like I was actually really excited to come back.
Yeah.
Like our price had started up. The bar I go to all the time, Pyramid Scheme, opened up. Just a lot of stuff changed while I was gone, and so I had a big, exciting kind of return back to Grand Rapids once I did.
Great. I mean, but really, you could leave for any 4 years, and you're going to come back. It's going to be so different here,
especially at this point. Yeah.
I've actually lived in Grand Rapids my entire life. I've never left, and I tell a lot of people that this is the best place to live, but I know no better. There's no other place I've ever lived or want to live. So
I mean, you get all 4 seasons. There's a lot of places I've been to. In visiting, you know, I like to travel in my spare time just because, you know, no extra, like, may as well, like, split all that free time into just kind of, like, going away and stressing out. And so, yeah, I've definitely come to notice that, like, oh, it is interesting that nobody gets the four seasons quite like we like land in ours, where it's so intense in the winter, so intense in the summer, so rainy in the spring. Like, there's such extremes that we land in this little area, and I've really come to enjoy it.
Yeah, totally get that. So where else have you been? Have you traveled?
Yeah, I was actually earlier this year, like maybe a month or so ago, out in Morocco, my first time in Africa, and that was quite an experience. I tend to typically go to like Northern Europe just because I like the weather. You know,
Hmm.
Ireland, Iceland, Denmark. Those places are all nice and cold and gray, and that just does wonders for my soul. So I love like hanging out there as much as I can. I'll be going back to the Netherlands. I think in just like 2 weeks actually. I don't know when this comes out, but I might have already been there. Um, but yeah, it's just I love going overseas. It's so nice. It's really good reset for kind of like, oh, what do I have at home? What don't I have at home? Like it's a really good perspective thing for me.
So are you going there for a specific reason or show or event in the Netherlands, or just for travel and for fun?
Usually for travel and fun. I have a couple friends that's just kind of what we do. I shouldn't say what we do because that makes it seem like it's in any way regularly affordable. But like maybe like once a year or so, it's kind of like that. Like, all right, where do we want to see this year? This is our big, like, it's like our treat to ourselves kind of thing. So we get on a Zoom call. Everyone has like a list of countries they're interested in, and we sit and like banter back and forth and land on a trip. It's been a really well. This got canceled during the pandemic, but other than those years, it's a really fun way to like get to travel. Like you're mostly there for pleasure, but like, you get to kind of like if someone's there, like if they want to go see a concert, like, oh yeah, we'll like peel over to that next spot over and like catch that show with you. So like it's not all on you either, which is really nice.
Yeah, definitely to have people to travel with and share the experiences with. And like, it's one thing to come back and tell people about it, but
Yeah.
another thing to actually experience that with somebody else. I totally understand that one.
And to like have other people like you get to it's not just like selfies the whole time you're there too. You kind of like you get to keep your phone down and like assume someone's probably taking a photo somewhere and not really like
Yeah.
you get to stay in the moment
Just
a little
tag
bit
me in
more.
that one. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Like one guy pulls the phone, the other is kind of all right, good. It's just much nicer, yeah, for like being able to take it all in and still remember it later.
So you're living in Grand Rapids now. Where at in Grand Rapids?
I'm currently in Midtown, not too far from where Martha's Vineyard is at.
Yeah.
That Innovation High School is right there. Super, super walkable little stretch.
They're doing a huge like remodel project on
They
that right
are. I didn't realize that when they started moving construction equipment in.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the school year, and I was like, oh, they must just be kind of like doing some refinements. And I mean, like they have not stopped since like end of school year last year. They like it looks gorgeous too. Like they are really doing a good job with it. But it's also a nice, aside from like that being there, Martha's being right there. It's also like right down the hill or right up the hill from Grand Rapids. Like every day to work, I just get to like kind of like take a little 10-minute walk downhill and
Yeah.
kind of see the city like descend into like the bottom of that valley. And it's it's a really cool place to be able to get anywhere quickly
Yeah.
without necessarily needing to get a car or an Uber.
Yeah, you say that. So I live on the northwest side, like Lake Michigan Drive in Colville. And the scooters don't come up to me.
Oh, they
Like,
don't?
They don't come up that far.
Oh,
Like, no,
man.
I don't know if they just don't drop them off, or if nobody brings them up that far. Or,
I don't know if they can make it up that hill.
But do they? But they come to you? Do you get scooters in your neighborhood?
We had them for a while. I think something changed where you can't park them anywhere anymore. And so like I see them a lot less than I did. For a while, I used to like be able to like leave my house and hop right on one and kind of
Yeah.
start heading out. But that's not so convenient anymore. I still see him around. Like one of my friends he's like right next to a spot, so his is always nice to be able to scooter to or from. I see him around from time to time. I always loved seeing him because it's such a silly way to like see somebody zooming through traffic.
Yeah.
I can see like I personally always had like these routes I would take so that I didn't have to go through much traffic because I always kind of had that like heart rate increase
man.
whenever I was on like Fulton, just kind of like I don't want to be here. I gotta find a smaller street.
Yeah. Bike lanes don't really mean much when you're a little scooter against a bus. You
Yeah,
know?
no kidding. Yeah.
I totally get that. So you mentioned in our pre-screen interview that you're a forever renter. What does that mean?
Forever renter is kind of like my term for myself, for someone that wants to live close to downtown and be like walkable to all these things, and to get into live in a like very, very old house, like an old 3-story mansion from like the 1880s, without having to also maintain that.
Yeah.
Like I'm the type that didn't fix, cars growing up, didn't know, like, just kind of, it was a bit of a like home improvement Tim Allen growing up for sure, where it's like, oh, we
Sure.
can fix that and we just make it worse kind of thing. So the thought of being able to say like, yeah, I've got a leak, but I gotta go, and I need someone to take care of this. Yeah. And then, oh wait, I don't need time and materials because, it's already like taken care of in rent.
Yeah.
So that ease of mind is something that I really enjoy. And as long as I'm like fiscally responsible enough, I can still kind of like, I still get to go do the travel
Take
stuff
fun
that I would
trips.
want to do. Yeah. And like, there's just no worries when I'm gone. Kind of like I have someone to, check on the door. Just someone in case something goes wrong. Like there's people nearby that will take care of it. I always kind of find that like strength in numbers too. I like being around a lot of people for safety. It's one of those things like for my lifestyle, it just works out so well. So I've kind
Totally
of like,
get that.
I've
Yeah.
like declared it. I've seen a few people that are far older than me, far older than you, that have just been forever renters, and they seem to enjoy it. So like, I mean, they seem to enjoy the life that it allows, If you're a single person, it's nice to have the lights on when you come home without having to be the one that like went in and turned them all on, like you get noises of other people being around. I don't know. I enjoy the freedom of it in a weird way.
So one of my favorite clients is actually that's all he's ever done is be a landlord, and he's had several properties in East Town and Midtown and Heritage Hill, like, and I know one of his properties, he's had a tenant since the early 80s. So she's lived there as long as like almost 40 years, and she's super happy, right? She has her space, and
Totally.
she, doesn't have to worry about a lot of things. If something goes wrong, someone else
Yeah.
takes care of it. But and you mentioned you live in one of these old historical houses. I mean, have you looked into any of the history? There's so much like cool
Big time.
like stories that all of these homes have.
Yeah.
And like I've had the pleasure of helping people buy or sell these type of homes, and the history is always what gets me. That same client, he actually owned the house on Fulton Street, which is corner of Fulton and Prospect. It's a big green.
Is it? Oh, big and green.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
no, he just actually painted it. It's like that now. It's dark. It's like dark brown. Prospect, Fulton, Gay, like that big block.
Oh yeah,
right
like
there.
I pass that all the time. I'm Fountain and Prospect. So
Nice.
I mean, I'm passing
Okay.
that one all the time. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So that house actually was the original site for Alexander Campaw. So the founder of Grand Rapids built his original house there, and then I really should know his first name, but there's his last name is Gay, who the street's named after. Moved into Grand Rapids, bought that site, and then took down Alexander Campaw's house and built his own mansion there, and used the lumber that was knocked over from that house to build the carriage house. So Alexander Campaw's original house is the lumber that's used for the carriage house.
That's great.
And now it's a 14-unit apartment building. So one person's house is now 14 people's house, right?
Yeah.
Really crazy. And all the stories that, like that's just one out of millions, right, that are in the downtown Grand Rapids area.
Totally.
It's like such a cool city. And it's great that you like value that and you're, using that in your business to share and spread the history of the city, right?
Absolutely. The one that I'm in is that same, it was like 1880s, there was like servants' quarters underneath, and there's still like holes in the floor. You can see that were patched up from back when like bells were like kind of like a system and stuff like that. We have an overhang where carriages would park. Split into 6 units. Like, I don't know how one family lived here.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, that's so much space. I don't know how you did it. And it's all brick, this thing must've been a furnace in the summer. Then I kind of, it's one of those every day I put mostly Edison bulbs in my apartment because I want to like stick with that old vibe to it, and man, my ceilings are so high. Like I could run and jump and still not hit them. And they let so much light in. It's just such a gorgeous design. Like it's one of those, I'm so happy that there's like people that have like taken up the mantle of keeping it nice throughout these years. And then like really pretty much only renting to people that are like going to also like take care of this. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I take care of it like it's my house, you know, like I love like this column that I have in front, you know, and everything the kid, like I take care of it like it's mine because it's so nice. I couldn't imagine it getting like, I would hate for something to like go wrong to it, you know?
Yeah, that's the type of tenant that I would want if I was a landlord. Of that kind of house, right? To preserve the history and value it and appreciate the stories and the character. So
totally.
It's
I'm
really
just trying to show this to her later so I can get lower rent, really.
Do it. I'll vouch for you. So Derek, I really appreciate you being on the podcast today and sharing some of your stories and your appreciation for Grand Rapids some of your business ideas. I really I'm rooting for you.
Thank you.
What's one final thing that you'd want to share with the people that are watching?
Maybe just come out and, you know, check out some of the local scenes in Grand Rapids. It's a fun place to hang out. I'm usually around in the summertime at either Pyramid Scheme or a parking lot party. Like, come hang out, come send me messages. Like, if you're a designer, definitely let me know and like share your work with it. I like being connected to stuff. So like any chance people get, like come connect, come send me messages, come like hang, come go to like a few events. Like it's,
So Derek, how can somebody get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me either from my website that I had mentioned earlier, the onemoreti.me. They can find me on Instagram. I've got, you know, the Grand Rapids account there and a personal and a professional. They can find me on Dribbble if they're a designer, GitHub if they're a developer. Really online, I try to make it pretty easy to find myself. Like I've got a unique spelling, and there is one guy that has DerekMohr.com. I'm not him. But outside of that, it's usually I'm one of the earlier people you can find. So they can find me however they want to Google it, really.
Yeah. Well, Derek, thanks again for coming on to our podcast and sharing your story with us.
Definitely.
And to everyone else, please like and subscribe. And if you know of anybody that would be a good guest for our podcast, please send our way. And well, thanks for coming in again, and we'll talk to you later.
Absolutely. Good luck on the podcast.
All right. Thanks, Derek.